Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will be talking about the accounting principle going concern and the indicators that indicate the company will have hard time to continue with the assumption of going concern. So let's start with the concept of what is a going concern principle. Look, the going concern principle says that company will continue to operate for a next 12 months or a next accounting period. That means it will continue to operate with whatever the finances it has. There is no chance of company going bankrupt. It will have the available money to operate for the coming 12 months at least. So we can say the going concern assumption remains valid and company will operate. However, it's very important for auditors to know whether the company will operate for the next 12 months or not, because accounting required company to be going concern. Their financials created on an assumption the company will remain going concern. If not, it's a job of auditors to find it out and see the indicators. So let's talk about some indicators which will help auditors knowing whether the company will operate for the coming 12 months or not. So the very first of the indicators is the financial indicators. The very first is more liabilities than assets. That means if company having more liabilities, that means more debt than the assets to repay, then it's a clear indication that company is having a hard time to continue their operations, because it will result in their bankruptcy. The people from whom company has taken debt, they will going to go with a court and ask court to liquidate the company's assets to pay for their liabilities. Therefore, when their liabilities overtaken the assets, they have more of liabilities than assets. This is a clear indication that after paying the liabilities, companies does not have anything remain to continue their operations, so they're going to bankrupt, and though they will not remain for coming 12 months, the going concern assumption is not remain valid in that case. Similarly, if you have negative cash flows, this indicates that the company is having more of a outflows than inflows. The company is basically not making any cash out of the operations, but they will actually taking more of a loan from external sources, which resulted in negative cash flows. So this indicated a clear indication of financial difficulties the company is having. Then comes the non-tax payments. It's a very big indication that company is not even paying taxes, because no company like to be in the eyes of the government. Everyone wants to avoid regulations and government. So if you're not even paying taxes on time, this is clear indication that you have a financial difficulties. Similarly, employees not being paid. Employees does not get much of your income, but if still you're not paying your employees, it's indication that yes, seriously, company is in financial crisis. Then you have continuous losses. It's the biggest indication, because if a company is continuously making losses, how are they gonna operate? For how long they gonna sustain those losses? They have to eventually close it up. So if the losses were compiled up for too many period, it's a clear indication that the company has to asked from the management whether you would be continue or not, because how long you gonna continue with the losses. Then sale of fixed assets, you're not earning your income from your operations, so you have to sell your fixed assets in order to generate some money so as to operate. So it's a clear indication that the company is in the financial crisis. Then discontinued dividends, not paying to your investors. Company is having hard time generating cash, not paying their investors dividends. So it's an indication to the auditor that they have to clearly see whether the company will continue or not. Then we have a defaulted loan agreements, company not having cash, so they defaulted on their due loan payments. This also shows company is having hard time financially. Then we have operational indicators as well. So look, when company is about to end, the very first people who gonna leave is management, because they have the information which general public not have. So if they were leaving, the management is leaving, it's a clear indication that company will not going to be there in few years, because management will not leave. It's something that is with the company from the very beginning. So if they were leaving, that's a very very clear indication that company going concern assumption will not remain valid sooner or later. Then we have a closure of business lines, product lines. If you see company is closing out their product lines, if they were having 5 product lines, if they are closing 2 out of them, it shows the company is in a crisis. They will not able to sustain those product lines, so they close them out. Sometimes companies close their branches from cities so as to cover up the losses. So this is an indication that company is in a crisis. So its going assumption may not be remain valid for some time. Then loss of key customers. A lot of companies work with very few customers. They're only supplying to few customers, right? Like Apple, BMW, they have their suppliers who are their main suppliers, and for their suppliers, Apple and BMW companies like them were the main customers. So if you are losing your customers like Apple, BMW, you are losing a chunk of your business. So it's very hard for you to operate and remain in a business. Then similarly, if you are reliant on few suppliers, and if suppliers having difficulty in operating, they will not operate, then how will you operate? Your business is dependent on the suppliers. So if not suppliers remain in business, you are not as well. You are dependent. Loss of major market. Obviously, technology is coming in every time. You coming up with new demands from customers. So if you're losing a market for either reason, with the customers, with the competitors, with the technologies, you would have a hard time operating your business for coming 12 months, because you are losing the market. Therefore, these all indications indicate that you will not going to sustain for coming 12 or more months. So going assumption does not remain valid for those companies. These are indications to the auditor. Thank you.